What's going on, everybody? Welcome in. We got another tier list for you today. Ryan and myself are going to be ranking all the Tennessee quarterbacks since 2000, roughly.
Yeah.
So, roughly our lifetime, probably most of y'all's lifetime. Um, it's not just going to be the guys you remember either. It's going to be like we got some guys on here that, have been selling insurance for 12 years. I mean, I don't know. There's a couple of these guys y'all probably won't even remember. It's going to be really fun. Last week we did the tier list about Tennessee coaches. So this one will be quarterbacks, and we've got some other ideas. But yeah, Ryan, you want to get right into it, buddy?
Yeah. So I kind of have this in chronological order. So for one game in the year 2000, um, once upon a time, Southern Miss was actually ranked a ranked matchup in Neyland Stadium, and one Joey Matthews got the start for Tennessee. Bryce, do you know who Joey Matthews is?
I have never heard of him in my life.
Well, that's probably because his career stats are like 115 yards, one touchdown, and about a 50% completion percentage. So um, he ended up splitting time with AJ Suggs the rest of the year before Casey Clausen finally won the job. But nowadays, or at least at one point, he was a sheriff's deputy in Sevierville. So he's made a good living for himself. But as far as quarterbacks go, we're starting off with a no doubt D tier here.
I mean, it's self-explanatory, guys. I mean, what do you want me to say about Joey Matthews?
Hey, he did love horses, Bryce.
Well, that's great. D tier.
Yeah, 100%. And I mentioned his name a second ago, but next guy, well, the other guy who lost the job to Casey Clausen was AJ Suggs. He started 4 games for the Vols in 2000. Um, he actually threw for 300 yards against LSU that year. It ended up being an overtime loss, but ended up transferring to Georgia Tech after losing that job by the end of the year. So I think this is another D tier for me, Bryce.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm looking at this right, it looks like he played in 7 games total in Tennessee. Completed threw for 785 yards with 5 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. So I mean, it could definitely be worse, but it could be a lot better. I mean, we're going to get to a lot better. So yeah, if you didn't start for the year and you didn't do anything special, you're going in D tier.
Yeah, that's a pretty good rule to have because once we get to the latter end of Butch Jones and the Jeremy Pruitt years, we got a lot of 1 and 2 off starters here. So I think that's a good rule to establish now, buddy. So, but next, I mean, the Iceman, Casey Clausen. The only guy on this tier list whose picture I used was not an orange because he was the Road Warrior. Uh, Second in school history as far as passing yards go, and I don't know if there's ever been a quarterback anywhere who's played that much better on the road. I mean, of course, back then, Bryce, we had brick shithouse defenses and a dominant
Yeah,
running game too, but the man was a winner.
yeah. I mean, pretty much every category all time and the all time leaderboards, he's behind only Peyton Manning.
Yeah,
I mean, can you really? What else can you say? I mean, okay, let me ask you this:
yeah.
Are you factoring in like after their college career at all?
No, this is a Tennessee tier list.
Okay, so in that case, I mean, Casey Clausen's at the top.
I agree. I mean, when you have the numbers that he does in school history and the iconic games that everybody remembers from those early 2000s, I mean he has our 2 most recent wins in the swamp, and it's
Mm-hmm.
2025. He stopped playing in 2003 for
Yeah,
Tennessee, so I think that speaks for itself. For me, it's an easy S tier for the Iceman.
agreed.
Next up, a guy who got a lot of hype coming into Tennessee. I mean, Brent Schaefer. He was like, I think he was the first true freshman to start at quarterback for an SEC school in about 60 years, because at one point they had the freshman football program. for college football.
Yeah.
And he ended up losing the job to Eric Ainge, but and then he left Tennessee under circumstances. He got in a fight and got charged with something, and Philip Fulmer basically asked him to transfer. But for me, I wouldn't put him in D tier. He had some success when he transferred out. I know we're not factoring in Tennessee, but he was.
You said Tennessee.
Yeah, I know, but I don't think he would have been a horrendous quarterback if he had stayed. But I don't know. I think there's worse, but especially when we get down the line to put in D tier for me.
So let me ask you this: did you put James Banks or C.J. Leak on the list?
I think based on because me and you both tried to look up, every single guy who started a game at quarterback. I think those are like special packages to start games or something. Because James Banks was a wide receiver.
I know, yeah.
And C.J. Leak was a tight end. I mean,
well, the reason I ask is because you joked about Jawan
Jennings. I mean, that's kind of, it's not really, you can't really analyze them as a quarterback. So
Okay. Well, so Brent Schaefer, I mean, in his limited stat, 18 of 37 for 302 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. I mean, like you said, it's kind of hard to, it's kind of hard to really grade it. But if you look at it, though, I mean, I know we said we're just factoring in Tennessee, but he transferred out, went to Ole Miss, and I mean, he didn't do great there either. I mean, he threw more interceptions than touchdowns in 2006. But I mean, I get what you're saying. We don't have to put him in the very bottom because you're right. I don't think he's the bottom of the barrel. No,
I mean, yeah. I mean, I think there's that's enough to be said about old Brent Schaefer. Do you remember that? This might be too niche even for you, Bryce, but there was a song on YouTube about Ole Miss football called "Colonel Reb is Crying."
No.
And there was some guy pretending to be Ed Orgeron because he was the head coach at that time there. And one of the lines was Brent Schaefer. It was about Brent Schaefer. So that's about the extent.
It was right after Eli.
Yeah, that's about the extent of my knowledge about Brent Schaefer. I mean, there you go. C tier for me. Are you in agreement?
Yeah.
Okay. This might be one of my hot takes, Bryce, but I think besides Casey, this is probably a top 3 quarterback of the 21st century for me.
Whoa.
Like Eric Ainge, by the way, did you know he's the nephew of Danny Ainge?
Yeah.
I know a lot of people think he's his son, but that's not correct. He's actually the nephew, but he came in, like I said earlier, with Brent, ended up winning the job in 2004. 2005, he ran into injury issues, and then we had to have Rick Clausen, Casey's younger brother, start a few games. But 2006,
grade him?
Yeah, he's after Eric. But
okay.
2006, 2007, if you look at the numbers, I mean, 2 prolific passing seasons from Eric Ainge when he got a full year to do it. So
you know how I said a minute ago that if you look at like Tennessee's all-time stats, passing leaders, Peyton's number 1 in most, and Clausen's number 2. Ainge is right behind Clausen in most of those categories. I mean, he's 3rd in career passing touchdowns with 72, 3rd in single season passing touchdowns with 31. He has the 3rd most pass attempts, the most pass attempts in a single season, which is crazy. He threw 519 times in 2007.
Yeah, I think he has the school record for completions in a season too. I don't know if you already said that.
Yeah, he does. Single season, 300 by a lot, 325 completions. So that air raid offense, baby.
Yeah, that's another point. I mean, he had the benefit of David Cutcliffe being the offensive coordinator for his last 2 years too.
Yeah, but a lot of players would have done bad even with David Cutcliffe.
Yeah, I mean,
but he's Tennessee S tier.
I mean, even with him, battling, drug and alcohol abuse issues his whole time at Tennessee. I mean, he's talked about it. He still managed to win 27 out of 37 starts when the program was about to fall apart under Fulmer. I mean, things were. They won the SEC East in 2007. That was the last trip to Atlanta. But I personally, for me, in the 21st century, I'm putting him in the A tier.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's. I'm obviously biased because this is the first quarterback that I like genuinely remember watching.
Me too.
And then getting to the SEC championship. But I get it. I'll put him at A because you're saving S for. I mean, that's got to be the best of the best.
Yeah.
I think he's easily A. He's A plus.
Yeah. I mean, the closest thing to S is A, and I like it. It feels wrong to put him at S. I don't know why, but it just does because, you know, he threw a pick six in the SEC championship to basically lose the game. I mean, I think Casey would have won that game, but you know, who knows? But next up, and it's kind of, these guys started the same. This was the guy who I said earlier replaced Ainge in 2005. That's why he's after Ainge. But Rick Clausen, younger brother of Casey, he started at LSU, matriculated to Tennessee in 2003, set out 2004. No, he at the end of 2004, I think. No, was it? Okay, I don't know.
He joined Tennessee as a walk-on. He spent his freshman year at LSU.
Yeah, the timeline's kind of foggy for me because this is like the first teams I remember watching. But his legacy to me is the Cotton Bowl. We beat the dog shit out of Texas A&M 38-7 with him starting. And then at the start of 2005, which ended up being a pretty bad season for Tennessee, we did have a good moment because he went to LSU after Ainge left the game with a brutal neck injury. Ainge got his head slapped against the goalpost. We were down 21-0, ended up winning the game 30-27 in overtime. So he has some good moments, but I don't think it's worth more than a C. I mean, I don't think it's worth more than a C tier. I'm going to go ahead and stick to that.
Yeah, I mean, it's an average career. He did have his best career game against Kentucky, though. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
350 yards against Kentucky, so you love to see that, but average career overall.
Yeah. Now we're getting to the – it's going to get brutal here for a little bit, Bryce. Jonathan Crompton took over after Eric Ainge left in 2007 and did not do well. It was the first year, 2 years of Cutcliffe, and then Cutcliffe left to go to Duke. So It was Dave Clawson's offense, the infamous Claw offense, that was horrendous. I mean, it was terrible. First game of the year in 2008, we went to UCLA and lost to a third or fourth string quarterback because we couldn't move the ball. I mean, and that, set in motion a pretty terrible final season for Philip Fulmer. I mean, I think at one point the defense was top 10. I think our defense was top 10 for most of the year, but the offense just couldn't do anything. Once Fulmer left, we hired Kiffin. Crompton had a decent season, but again, I don't think it's worth more than a C tier for me.
It's a C. It's a C. I mean, it's the embodiment of C, in my opinion. Career numbers. He did throw a lot of touchdowns, so I'll give him that. I mean, he had 36 touchdowns, which is pretty good, and 36 touchdowns in 35 games. So, that's pretty good. But he also had 22 interceptions, and like you said, the offense was not very good back then. So, it's also not the best. I mean, you don't have very many good memories from that time. So,
no. I mean, yeah. Nothing more needs to be said. And the next guy, the guy who replaced him for some portion of that season before he started the last few games, Nick Stevens was even worse. My lasting memory of him is we played NIU in 2008.
Yeah, I was at that game.
And we won like 13-9 or some god-awful score. And it was just – I remember we paid to watch it at my dad's old house on – CSN or see that old channel that used to show games that you had to pay for, and we paid to watch that garbage. And that was when I knew, this is not the same Tennessee that just won the SEC East in my 9-year-old mind. So
Yeah.
it was brutal, and that is a definite D tier for me.
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing sticking out. No positive highlights from that.
No, I couldn't. I don't remember one play that he did. I just remember the NIU game, and he was.
I remember the NIU game. I had box seats because we got them from my mom's work for some reason, and I remember being bored as shit. So
Titans legend, though. I don't know if you knew that, but he was a Titan for about 4 months.
Well,
So,
you know what? It would be really fun to do a Titans quarterback tier list.
Oh God, it'd be like full of D tier besides McNair and Tannehill would be in like B. I don't know.
It's a bad tier list when like Vince Young is like at near the top.
Yeah, Vince Young and Ryan Fitzpatrick. But moving on. Like I said, we're not getting much better for a few quarterbacks here, but Matt Sims, best known for being Phil Sims' son and Chris Sims' brother. He bounced around the NFL too, but a lot of shitty quarterbacks do that. 2-8 as a starter, and another D tier. I mean, there's not much to say about a lot of these guys because just how Tennessee football's gone for most of the 21st century. But
yeah, I mean, the most notable thing about Matt Sims is, like you said, his family and getting benched for a guy we're about to talk about.
Yeah, and rightfully so. It was about the smartest decision Derek Dooley ever made.
Did you put him in D? I didn't see.
Hell yeah, I put him in D.
Okay, yeah, he sucked ass. Sorry, I mean he's a good guy, but he sucked.
Yeah, he's not great, but this was the first quarterback that really got me excited to turn on the TV after the last 2 years of Eric Ainge. This was the guy that I got super excited to watch. Even in the 2012 season, Dooley's final year, when we were losing games like 51-45, it was still fun to watch. I mean, if they had an inkling of a defense, he would have been a 9-10 win quarterback. But Tyler Bray, he's all over the record book of Tennessee football, and he was only here for 3 years. I wish he wouldn't have left after 3 years, but
yeah, if he wouldn't have, I mean, he could have maybe worked his way into S tier. I mean,
yeah,
I think he would be in S tier. I mean, and he went undrafted too. I mean, I know he did. He did end up sticking around for a while with the Chiefs and stuff, but
yeah,
he could have been S tier if he stayed.
On the other hand, who in the name of God wants to play for Butch Jones? But
well, we'll get to that.
Yeah, but I think 4 of the top 10 passing performances in a single game in Tennessee history belong to him. 4 more belong to Peyton. I think Garantano has one and Andy Kelly has one, but it's Bray and Manning for single game performances. He also has the second best passing season behind Manning in Tennessee football history.
Yeah, he's 4th in career touchdowns. Like you just said, second behind only Peyton in single season touchdowns. I mean, he's clearly A tier.
Yeah, we're only judging quarterbacks, but as far as team success goes, it's like B or C. But like I said, if he had any type of defense, if he had a middle of the road defense, I mean, like I said, the teams could have been far, far better. So, and it doesn't help that the Southern lawyer Derek Dooley was his coach, but super, super exciting guy to watch. But Justin Worley up next, kind of the bridge guy from Dooley to Butch, very forgettable. I will say in 2014, before he finally got his ass knocked out and Dobbs had to take over because he was getting killed, he was doing all right. Like he was looking like a competent quarterback, but other than that, I mean, it's just a very forgettable thing. It's not D tier for me. I would put him in C, but the one thing I'll say about him, the last thing I mean, is tough as nails, because he had to live behind that 2014 and 2013 offensive line that was just not great at all.
Yeah, he didn't have a lot to work with. 2 moron head coaches. Sat behind Tyler Bray for 2 years, and then, like you said, just got beat up when he did play. He ended with a 12-13 record, which is bad by today's standards, but that was about par for the course for that era of Tennessee football. Yeah, I mean, he's a C. He's not good enough to be a B. We have a guy that fits B pretty well coming up, but
I think so too.
yeah.
I think we have a few that fit B in this latter half, but yeah, just a forgettable guy. But I always liked him as a person. But we're judging football here. Speaking of judging football, one of the worst NFL debuts you will ever see. I'll never forget. I'll never forget that first quarter in Gainesville in 2013, where Nathan Peterman was just doing shit that I had never seen done on a football field, like levels of incompetency,
and not in a good way.
Levels of incompetency that is hard to even fathom. And he did go on to have a good end to his college career at Pitt, but we're judging the Tennessee time here. And
I mean, dude, let's just call a spade a spade. I know, like, people will see that he played in the NFL, even though he sucked. They'll just see that he played in the NFL, and they'll think like we're being too harsh. He was horrible.
Yeah.
Just in case you don't remember, he ended his time at Tennessee with a whopping 46.5% completion percentage, 94 yards, 0 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. I mean, he's the worst D tier yet.
I mean, yeah, it's not even close for me. I mean, what can you even say? I think he started 2 games at Tennessee. One of them was the Gainesville game I talked about, and one of them was against Alabama in 2014. Because Butch Jones brilliantly had Josh Dobbs as the third string in 2014, but just really bad football.
Horrible.
And the next man up came and made us at least respectable for the next 2.5 years. Josh Dobbs, the one quarterback that gave me some hope in high school. I mean, he was a fun guy to watch, and I think if you didn't have Butch Jones as his head coach, he could have been a Heisman candidate. I mean, he was close to being a Heisman candidate anyway in 2016. If we wouldn't have lost to South Carolina, I think he would have been, because we would have been knocking on the door of 10 wins. But
I'm anxious to see what you want to do here, because I lean towards A. Call it rose-tinted glasses. Like, this is when I was in college. I loved watching him play. It was some of the most fun teams. You can call him underachieving. I don't think he underachieved, though. No. I mean, he had an absolute buffoon as his head coach. Offensive line wasn't that good. The play calling was atrocious. Like you said, he was still, even with all that, he was still a borderline Heisman candidate. I mean, he ended his career with over 7,000 passing yards, 53 touchdowns, 29 interceptions, completed almost 62% of his passes. I mean, that's a very solid college career. And I know, like we said, it doesn't really matter, but still in the NFL. Played for the Titans as well.
Yep.
Great guy. And you know what? Actually, fuck you. He's going A tier.
I don't disagree.
Okay, good. I thought you were going to put him in B.
No. Like you said, the reason we underachieved in those years was not because of Josh Dobbs.
Absolutely.
Most of the plays he made was not how the play was supposed to go. And that just tells you how brilliant Butch Jones and Mike DeBoard, rest in peace, were in those 2 years when he was the full-time starter. I mean,
if you have to, I know it's stupid to do say stuff like this, like the whataboutisms, but imagine if he spent those years at Oregon instead.
Yeah, the Mark Helfrich days. I mean, it's.
I'm just saying, like
he probably would have won a Heisman if he was at a school like that. I mean, the talent was off the charts, and I think A tier is comfortable for me. I don't like these 4 guys we have up top right now are the guys that before I even thought about this list, I knew we're going there. Like,
okay, yeah, I agree.
These are the guys that were watchable.
Yeah.
So far. So, Next up, the my freshman year at Tennessee, this guy started the first 5 games. Our first 5 games. Um, terrible, dog shit. We were 3-2 in those games, but
You want to say his name?
Quentin Dormady,
Yeah, he sucked ass.
or Quentin Dormady, because he ended up just quitting. I mean, I don't think Butch Jones would have made the move to Garantano if not for that. But
You know what's funny about that?
what?
He ended up going to Butch Jones's former school.
Central Michigan?
Yeah, like that's where he ended his career.
Yeah, I think I knew that, but he won against Georgia Tech miraculously and threw for like 200 yards on like a 25 of 40 performance. He basically threw to Marquez Callaway, and Callaway made plays. He beat Indiana State and he beat UMass. He made an embarrassing interception on the 1 yard line at Florida. Almost broke my bed desk combo in Hess Hall when he did that. I mean, and then the cherry on top was that 41-0 shellacking by Georgia in Neyland Stadium. That was one of the times in Neyland where I wanted to die the most. And first play of the game, this moron throws an interception, and any hype or hope for that game just went out the door. So very, very easy D tier for me.
Nothing to add. He sucked. I mean, seriously, there's not one positive that anybody has from his time here.
You know what's funny? And I remember in 2016 when we hit our we lost to A&M, Alabama, and then South Carolina. We had lost 3 games in a row, and people were not ironically wanting to go to Dormady at quarterback. And then you get what you ask for, I guess, for those idiots. So, next up, the most maligned quarterback of the 21st century for me, the one starter that's the most maligned, not like a one-off or two-off game starter. Jarrett Garantano. I think it's a lot of the same deal with Dobbs. I mean, if he had a decent coach, I think he would have been a decent quarterback. But what undid him was his horrible decision making, and
Well,
I could talk about Jarrett Garantano and his time at Tennessee for 2 hours.
I think it's going to boil down to what most people are going to remember him by is the Georgia State game.
Yeah.
Whether you want to blame that all on him or not, I mean, obviously it's not all his fault. The defense was atrocious. That's what his legacy is losing to Georgia State and costly, stupid turnovers. He's basically the Will Levis of Tennessee. But he did have upside. He did look good at sometimes. And if you look at the broader picture, he doesn't deserve to be thought of like some of these other guys. I mean, he threw for 6,000 yards, 38 touchdowns, only 17 interceptions. He doesn't deserve to be in the list with some of these other scrubs. I mean, because I think he's objectively more talented than anybody in C or D.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Like objectively. I mean, he's not he's the perfect B candidate because he's nowhere near the level of the 3 that are in A, but he's head and shoulders above everybody below B.
See, I thought I was gonna have to argue for B, but I mean,
no, I've appreciated him more since he left. I mean, and to be honest, like it's one of those things where the whole situation was screwed. And like you said, if he would have been in a different situation with a different coach or a different team, it might have been different. And I mean, I know you can't really go off of that, but I feel a little bad for him looking back at it because it has been worse.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about it in a minute, but I think B tier very comfortably.
I mean, all you have to do to know that, and it's Jeremy Pruitt's fault either way, but when you look at the guys that he started in his place in a few spots in 2019, you see why he was still starting. So, looking back on it now, yes, I see why he was still starting. At that time, I wanted him bench just like everybody else because we just wanted to see something new. But like I said, you'll see here in a second when we announce these names. But when one-off starter here. Will McBride got shellacked at Missouri 50-16. Not all his fault, but not much to say about him.
I mean, he completed 42% of his passes, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Just put him in D and move on.
Yeah, 100%. This Brian Maurer, when he started his first start at against Georgia in Neyland Stadium in 2019, and we were winning 14-10, like halfway through the second quarter, I thought he was the truth. I mean, I'm just gonna admit that, but and he was so hilariously reckless on the football field. Like I remember against Alabama, he basically did the scorpion routine and like hit the back of his helmet with the spikes because he got obliterated. Like he probably had 10 concussions at Tennessee, and we just don't know about him. But I think he's better than anybody in D, but he's still pretty bad. So I'm still going to put him in D. I mean, I don't know if you have anything to say about Brian Maurer.
Yeah, dude. He's very clearly a D, dude. I
Yeah.
mean, he fucking sucked. I mean, granted, we could give him the benefit of the doubt like we've given a lot of these other people, but I mean, he ended with 2 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. I mean, I don't really.
I think it was against Georgia. He got knocked out. The game he started that I talked about, he got knocked out against Mississippi State a week later, because he just. And before that, he had thrown a terrible interception in the end zone. Like, even if he had played the whole time, he wasn't that reckless and got hurt. He probably would have ended up being like Jonathan Crompton at best.
Right.
And he just is what it is. And my God, JT Strout was even worse. I think it could be argued that Strout was, maybe the better quarterback, but just because of that South Carolina game where he uncorked a few passes to Callaway and we won that game. But I don't know. It was that weird time of the year in 2019 when Garantano had spiked the ball into the end zone in Alabama, and that put us out of the game immediately, and he was just not going to start Garantano. But what was funny is Garantano would always come in the game at some point and win us the game. Like, it just shows you how brilliant Jeremy Pruitt was. But Strout to me is another D.
Yeah, nothing to say. I mean, it's another. I mean, seriously. I mean, it's another. He was a little bit better than Maurer, but not much. I mean, congrats. I mean, that's like going from like a cow patty to like a dog turd. I mean,
yeah.
All of these guys, like a guy we'll talk about in a second, JT Strout, Brian Maurer. I mean, it's just a ball of like forgettableness.
Hell, I remember it. I mean,
it's like a sleep paralysis demon. Like at night, most people see like a horned like devil. Me and you see like the shadow of JT Strout, like scampering through the hallways.
No, the ghost of Nick Stevens is under my bed.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think we need to dwell on these idiots.
No, I'm just trying to give the context for people who might not know who the hell they are.
I know.
Speaking of that, another D tier for me. No argument from you, I imagine. Harrison Bailey started the final 3 games of 2020. Before that 2020 season, people were wanting to start Bailey over Garantano. And then he played. We were like, all right.
So, everybody wanted him to be good. I mean, we were excited. I remember being hyped on Twitter, but I don't remember who it was, but somebody on Vol Twitter back in the day was like, I knew he was going to suck as soon as he stepped on campus wearing rainbow Crocs. And like, I still think about that.
I've not seen that one. But yeah, I mean, he started against Florida, Vanderbilt, and A&M.
Mm-hmm.
1 and 2 as a starter. I mean, I think me or you could have played quarterback against Vanderbilt that year and won that game. I mean, they had a damn woman kicking field goals. It was a clown show over there on West End. I think any of these quarterbacks in D could have won that game. So it's just another forgettable guy. The only thing that makes him slightly less forgettable is the hype he had coming in, but that quickly got, snuffed out. And now the Heupel era quarterbacks here.
This is the good stuff.
Yeah, the the quarterbacks who don't make you want to, shove like a blender into your eyes and turn it on full blast. And starting off with Hendo Cinco, um, I'll go ahead and do this. He's an S. He resurrected Tennessee football. Him and Josh Heupel's system, you know, got us the street cred again. To like you said last week, we're recruiting better than we were in that decade of horrendous football. We're
Yeah.
winning games, 30 games in the last 3 years, and he was the one who started it. Just a great ambassador for Tennessee. I mean, you couldn't ask for a better leader, and he gave us some of the best moments of our lifetime with Tennessee football.
Easy S. Um, Fantastic. He made Tennessee fun again, ushered in the new era. Incredible touchdown to intercept. Incredibly smart with the ball. 58 touchdowns, only 5 interceptions. Ridiculous.
Yep.
And then the fact that he only played, and it feels like a lot longer. He only played 24 games for Tennessee, and he still got over 6,000 passing yards, which JG played over 40 games and barely got over 6,000.
Yeah.
Not throwing shade. I mean, I'm more meaning it as like a compliment to Hendon.
Yeah.
Like what he was able to do in such a short time. Amazing tenure. Everybody looks back at the Hendon years with glee. There's nothing negative to remember about it, so it has to be S.
Yeah, 100%. Couldn't have said it better. Joe Milton.
You about to piss some people off.
Bazooka Joe. I mean, I know where I'm putting him unless you argue. But started the first 2 games, 2021, Josh Heupel's inaugural season. I think everybody knew after that Bowling Green game that just because he was big, he was not going to be the answer, no matter how good the system was. And that really was affirmed when Hendon Hooker came in and looked incredible. I mean, there was talk of Hendon Hooker leaving after 2021. That's how good he did in his starts in that first season. And Joe Milton couldn't do it in those first 2 games. He never lived up to that expectation in 2023 either when we went 8-4. I mean, if it wasn't for the defense getting better in 2023, we could have been looking at a 7-5, 6-6 year there. But forgettable. I mean, not forgettable. I wouldn't say forgettable. It's just a frustrating quarterback to me because he could have been leaning towards ARS tier if he could just, complete a pass sometime.
So, do you want to know? This is going to be interesting. I want to know, like, where you're going to put him and then where you're going to put Nico, because in my opinion, you kind of have to put them in the same tier.
Yeah.
Because if you look at their stats, they're way more similar than people probably think they are.
I mean, I've told you this before, sorry to interrupt you, but if you look at Garantano's 5 years and Milton's 6 years, it's about the same stats.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is like you said, Joe Milton he's better than Garantano because he didn't have the turnover problems. He was kind of an idiot, don't get me wrong. Like the end of the Ole Miss game, like
these last 2 quarterbacks both ran out of bounds in the last plays of games. So
yeah, exactly. You can't separate them, dude.
No, I 100% agree.
Nico and Joe are the same quarterback, and I do kind of have a soft spot for Joe just because for the most part we still do have good memories. Like it's like 95% good.
Yeah.
So I don't think you can be too harsh on Joe. Obviously underperformed what our expectations, but it goes back to like, are the receivers the problem? Is the play calling the problem? Or it's either that or Nico and Joe are both just mid.
Yeah. So, the only thing that I'd say that, and it's yet to be seen, and for the purpose of this tier list, it doesn't matter because Nico's not at Tennessee anymore, but you're talking about Joe Milton's, only year as a full-time starter being a 6th-year guy, and Nico's being a, redshirt freshman season. That's the only thing I'll say that might separate them, but for the purpose of this list, they're going to be in the same tier. So, but like I said, go ahead.
I think it's B.
Yeah, I 100% agree.
Okay.
And I know anybody watching this would look at us having Milton and Garantano in the same tier and might think we're crazy. But if you really dive into it and think about what Garantano could have been in a Heupel offense, I don't think it's any worse than what Joe Milton did. I mean, I just think that's a fact. So, and finally, um, the guy who we pampered for 3 years and then he left us high and dry, either by his own doing or his father's, Nico Yamaliava. I mean, 10-3 record as a redshirt freshman is nothing to be scoffed at, but the counterpoint would be how much of that was due to Dylan Sampson and the defense, and I would say probably 75 to 80% of it. Had some good moments, but never really lived up to the hype that Tennessee fans put on him.
You know what? I don't like it when people say
What?
Like J-Rod, people like that live with Tennessee on their brain to like an unhealthy level. They'll say, well, if Nico was the quarterback still for Tennessee, y'all would be talking about how excited you are for the season and you'd be talking about how great he is. My response to that is no shit.
Yeah, I mean, what?
No shit. What? Who doesn't support the quarterback?
Yeah, that's stupid.
Like, that's a fucking stupid argument. And yeah, we are talking shit about him because he left. What am I supposed to do? Suck his dick and beg him to come back?
I mean,
I agree. Here's the thing. Like, he did leave. Okay, he did leave in a shitty way, so it allows you to be more objective about it now. If he is your current quarterback going into the season, I'm just being honest. If he's still your quarterback, you're not going to be objective about it completely because you are a fan and you're going to want him to do good.
Yeah.
So now that Nico's not on the team, we can be completely objective about it, and he is mid.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid to say that. Like, I was in with the Polynesian Prince memes and thinking he was the savior because he's a quarterback of my favorite team, and that's what's going to happen. He's at UCLA now, taking a step back. I don't care what happens to him now. Yeah, he's not very good. I mean, you can say to this point, and I don't see why it would change in a war with a worse team, but to this point, he has not lived up to his hype.
Yeah, I mean, and what you're saying is all true. I mean, if it were up to me, Nico would be our quarterback next year, but it wasn't up to me. I mean, I was excited to watch him. I was excited to see his progression going into his third year under Heupel. But he's not our quarterback anymore. And to your point, we're about to get up for Joey Aguilar, like, because he's our quarterback. I mean, that's just how it is. I mean, no sane fan is going to be like, oh, well, this quarterback sucks. I'm not going to watch. I'm not going to get excited. No matter what the program, there's always some semblance of excitement when you're 0-0, and that includes the quarterback. So, yes, we would have been hyped for Nico. Yes, we're going to be hyped for Joey. It's not rocket science. I totally agree with that point. But, like I said, I'd rather him be the quarterback next year than Joey just because of the experience. But that's not the road that we live in. And I 100% agree. That's why he's in B. He's mid. He's not worse than any of these guys in C or D. And he's not better than any of these guys in A or S. I mean, it's pretty simple.
So, just to recap for everybody, we have Clausen and Hendo in the S tier. We have Ainge, Bray, and who the fuck is that? Dobbs. Ainge, Bray, and Dobbs in A. We have Nico, Milton, and JG in B. And a bunch of scrubs everywhere else.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing separating D from C is that those guys got, more than a few games to start. So
I don't really know what people would disagree with. I mean, people probably are not going to like JG, Nico, and Milton being all in the same category, but where else would you put them?
Yeah. I mean, the thing with JG and Milton is, like I said, you're comparing similar stats. You're comparing to a guy with somebody looked like he couldn't make change for me at the gas station to Josh Heupel's offense.
I mean, the only argument I can see is that Milton and Nico won a lot more than JG did, but the stats are eerily similar. So
yeah. So, any more final thoughts? I mean, we went through a lot of. It was like a storm of bad football. We just had to wait through, Bryce, till we finally got to the good days near the end here.
Yeah, let's do an honorable mention. 2 honorable mentions. Let's do who's the best S and who's the worst D. And for the D, you can't pick the 2 guys that you didn't know. You have to pick like one of the ones that actually played more than like 2 games.
I'll start with worst D. It's Nick Stevens. I mean,
I just said don't pick Nick.
No,
never mind. I'm sorry. Yeah,
he played. Right. I think he started 5 games.
You're right. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
The best S, I don't care if it's recency bias, to me is Hendon Hooker.
Okay, I agree. Hendo, and then I was gonna say Brian Maurer, dude. I really hated him.
So to me, Maurer was just a little bit more exciting than the rest of that group, but it's probably rose-tinted glasses there. But yeah,
didn't he leave and go to he went to Central Ohio Tech or something?
He went to Stephen F. Austin, and I don't know what he's doing now. So,
guess who plays Stephen F. Austin this year?
AP.
Yeah, we're gonna push that dick in the dirt, boy.
All right, man. Final thoughts?
No, I mean you can see it's a good sign that all of the quarterbacks that are the most recent are towards the top.
Yep, it's kind of similar with the coach tier list too. So
yeah, true.
It's looking up for what we've been through as Tennessee fans in our lifetime, Bryce. So go Vols.
Go Vols.